Have you ever thought about writing a book for your business, but didn't think you had the time? Maybe you don't think you would be able to write a book and still have time with your family. Maybe you think writing a book would take way too long and you just didn't have that as a priority for this season of life. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to write a nonfiction book in 30 days or less, spending about an hour a day working on this book. Now, as we go through this entire process, I want to make something really, really important, and that's this. Writing a book does not have to take years. Okay, most people think that you have to lock yourself in a cabin in the woods, you have to give up everything, stop spending time with your family, lock yourself away, and that's not the reality of it. Sure, do some people do that for their writing process? Yes. Do some types of books maybe require that from that author? Sure, maybe. But not everybody can live full-time in a cabin in the woods and only write. And so I want to show you, the busy entrepreneur, the busy professional, how you can not just take months, but how you can write a full-length book in 30 days or less. Now, here's the deal. You can absolutely write a full-length, high-quality book in 30 days. But a big note, I did not say that you can write, publish, launch, and market your book in 30 days. Okay, this is because once your book's actually written, you need to make sure that the book is produced, published, and launched in a way that suits your overall goals and that meets the quality of standards that you are looking for. So when I say that you can write a full-length book in 30 days or less, you can absolutely write your entire manuscript in 30 days or less. And I believe that you can do it because I've done it and many of the people that I've worked with have done it as well. My name is Jake Kelfer. I'm a 4-time best-selling author who's turned my books into multiple successful businesses in the speaking, coaching, and book publishing space. I now run a company called Big Idea to Bestseller, which helps high-level entrepreneurs and executives write, publish, launch, and market nonfiction books for back-end business growth and success. Now, here's something to note. The reason I believe this is because I did this. When I was getting ready to release my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, I did something called Project Bestseller, where I would document exactly what I did every single day throughout this experience. And my goal was to do this book as fast as I possibly could without sacrificing the quality. Now, disclaimer, I had done this 3 times before. I knew exactly what the book was going to be about. I had the team in place. So my process went really, really quickly and was really, really efficient. But I want to share this. I wrote a full-length book in 17 days. This book, Big Idea to Bestseller, I wrote in 17 days, spending less than an hour a day working on the book. And I even documented this, and I'm going to break down the statistics here. So I finished the rough draft in 17 days. That was after I had done the things that I'm going to share with you in this video. The first draft ended up being about 32,000 words. The book ended up being about 35,000 words. Now, what you can see here is that the time from start to finish of the rough draft was 19 hours and 2 minutes, or the total average was 51.9 minutes per day. This is the average of the first 22 days of my project. Of the 22 days, I spent 17 days writing my rough draft. Okay, now this is where this can be so powerful for you. And I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step of how you break down your time and how you kind of organize everything. But the thing that I really want to stress here is that you can absolutely write a great book. And the biggest thing that I think stops people is they think they have to have everything figured out at once, or they think they have to be perfect on the first try. But what I want to share with you is that your first draft is your rough draft. Okay? This is not supposed to be write it once and you're done forever. If you rode a bike, were you expected to be perfect on the first time? No. If you learn how to play golf, would you be expected to hit a 300-yard drive the first time? No. If you were to learn language, would you be expected to be perfect in Spanish on the first time? Spanish was the language I took in high school. No, you wouldn't. So when you write a book, for some reason, there's this expectation that we're going to be perfect on the first draft, and that's going to be all we have to do, and that's not the case. Instead, what I'd rather encourage you to do is get the first draft done as quickly as possible so that you can get everything from your head onto paper. That way, you now have the drawing board to work with. You now have all of the material out, and now we can improve and make it more efficient. So here's how you can go about doing this. And this is a process that I've used to write these 4 books and that we've helped hundreds of other people as well. So number 1 is pick your writing time. This is going to change dependent on your personality, but there are often two ways that we see people having great success. Either commit to a specific time every single day. So maybe that's 30, 60, 90 minutes where you know, hey, I can do that 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 a.m., boom. Or pick your writing time and do 2 to 3 bigger chunks. So for example, maybe you have Wednesday afternoon, okay, from 2 to 4, fantastic. And maybe you know you have Saturday morning from 6 to 10 a.m., boom. That's 6 hours of your time you can allocate just towards writing your manuscript. The reason that this is so effective is because it helps us build this habit. Build this habit of showing up for ourselves. Build this habit of doing things that are difficult. And when we do this, we can then start to have a ton of success. The second thing that you're going to do is you need to pick your topic and your niche. The more niche your book is, the easier it's going to be to create. Why? Well, when you speak to everybody, when you have a more general topic, there's a million different ways to go about doing it. But when you speak to your expertise to a specific niche, you're going to give them the exact process. That's why I was able to write Big Idea to Bestseller so quickly, is because Big Idea to Bestseller is a fundamental framework that I believe helps people write books quicker. So I was able to write down that very same framework in book form. So the more niche you are, the better, and often the easier it is to create this. Number 3 is outline your book. What happens to a lot of people is they're like, get inspired to write. They're like, I'm writing a book. They start writing their book and they get a chapter or 2 down and then they get confused or they get lost or they think this isn't for them. Outlining your book is not just for the people who are super organized. Outlining your book is a great way to be highly efficient so that you have a framework to create your book. It's essentially laying a foundation before the house. Would you build a house without a sturdy foundation? No. So you build the foundation in the form of an outline, and then you start to build on top of that by elaborating on this. This is going to exponentially speed up your process because you'll already have put out some of the thoughts. The way that we encourage people to outline their book is we encourage them to do multiple different phases. Phase 1 is what can you teach? Phase 2 is what have you experienced? And phase 3 is how do you put them all together? And so in our programs, we actually do this for you and we walk you through this step by step. Number 4 is to create your book breakdown. This is where data can help eliminate the overwhelm. So one of the things that so many people feel when they get ready to write a book is that they're like, oh my gosh, this feels daunting. I haven't even started word 1 and I have to write 30,000, 40,000 words. How am I going to do that? Well, this is where you create your book breakdown so that you can really start to have a little bit more control and a little bit more focus on the time that you do work. So let me give you an example here. If you have 10 chapters and you want to finish your book in 30 days, you need to finish 1 chapter every 3 days. Okay, now let's say you only have 20 days of those 30 days to work on your book because of how you time blocked in step 1. Well, okay, now you have 10 chapters, you have 20 days, you need to finish 1 chapter every 2 days. Or maybe you want to think about it more of a word count. Your target word count is 30,000. You have 30 days, so you need to write 1,000 words every single day. Personally, I like to break it up more based on what initial chapter structure I have than word count because it's more important to me to get all the material out than it is for me to keep writing or write less because I'm focused on a word count. But this is how you can create your book breakdown. So let me give you another example here. Let's say you're going to do the book in a month and you're going to start on, let's just say November 1st and you want your book to be done by November 30th. Well, let's factor in Thanksgiving. Maybe that's a day you're with your family, and let's factor in 8 weekend days. So now you're at 21 days that you're going to actually be writing for. Now, within those 21 days, you have, let's just say, 11 chapters. Well, you're going to need to finish a chapter almost every 2 days. That's going to tell you that for every time you write, you need to write half a chapter or half of what your outline is for that chapter. Now, here's what's really cool about a rough draft. You may find out that you have more chapters, or you may find out that you have less chapters. But the key thing here is to create the book breakdown to give you a day-by-day action item versus trying to figure out how you're going to write a full-length book all at once. Instead, focus on, hey, all I need to do is write half of this chapter today, and I'll write half of it tomorrow, and then I move on. Step number 5 is commit to the process. I can't tell you how many people, before they come to work with me, they get really excited about writing a book. They're like, I'm doing this, I'm committed, it's my time. And then they have the process and they have a plan, but they don't stick to it. Commit to the process. And this is why identifying the key steps up to this point where you have your designated writing time. You get support from your family, your friends. You pick your very clear niche. You outline the book. You create your book breakdown. Now all you have to do is just show up for yourself. All the foundational pieces are laid out. Next up is focus on one thing at a time. Focus on one book, not 3, one book. Focus on one chapter, the one that you're in. Don't bounce back and forth. Focus on one paragraph. What are you trying to say? And here's a question that I think everybody should think about when you're writing a book for your business is, what does the reader need to know to help them get the result they desire? What do I need to share right now so that the reader can get the result that they desire? And then number 7, this is a killer of speed, is don't edit as you go. Don't write chapter 1 and edit chapter 1. Then write chapter 2 and edit chapter 2. Because here's the thing. Who you are from chapter 1 to who you are chapter 10 or 15, you're going to evolve. And as you evolve, your style will evolve, your groove, your flow, it will all evolve. So instead of editing chapter 1 and trying to make that perfect, which can often take a lot more time, get all the chapters out. And then the next thing you will do is self-edit through that process. So those are the 7 steps that I would encourage you to take to write a nonfiction full-length book in 30 days or less. Now, the document I just created for you that you're seeing me vibe off of is 400 words. Okay, so if my book was going to be 40,000 words, I would need 100 of these. 100 of these quick documents that I just created. Look at this. This is size 16 font. There's bullet points. If I just did this 100 times, it's like about a page. Okay, it says 3 pages, but with the image, you have about 2 pages. Okay, you can do this. Just 2 pages. All right, this is where you can start to get in a groove. Okay, so if this is something that you found really helpful, I wrote my entire book. Okay, not only did I do it following this format, but I wrote this book teaching you the exact steps to follow. You can go to bigideabestseller.com/free-book and grab yourself a copy. And if you know that you want help on your book and you want to get this done for you, or you want this to be a very streamlined process by somebody who's done it tons and tons of times before you, then go to bigideabestseller.com/call to book a call with our team and discuss your book idea. Look, if you've watched this far, you're interested in writing a book, but there's something holding you back, whether it's time, whether it's the knowledge, whether it's the roadmap. Let us help you do this. You got this. You got the knowledge. You got the experience. It's time for you to write your book. I'll see you on the next one.